having a men's group together, and Rob is leading, is also a part of the group, but also
he's guiding.
Yeah, and you were telling me a little bit about your process, but I in the group I see a lot of guys, including myself, who doubt a little bit about God. Like, is he like?
Sure.
How did you experience that in your process?
Yeah.
And like, I can imagine without, if you don't believe in God, then
that's never been something that has stopped God.
No.
God is not offended that you don't believe in him.
No.
And which, thankful, that just means that God is actually bigger than me, and love is bigger than my ability to resist it. So that part doesn't even concern me. It's just an expression of the fact that there's a huge gap between your head and your heart. When the Shack came out, it hit people in the heart before their heads got engaged. It hit and blew up inside of them in a beautiful way, and then their heads got engaged. And because most of us in the West, especially since Enlightenment rationalism, that's the place we've run to in order to stay safe. So it doesn't surprise me that people have doubts, because they've shut down their humanity in such a way that they've only limited God to be able to be intellectually reasonable, And so when they say they doubt, they're talking to me about their rationalism. But if I can go past that, that's not difficult, and I can say, so tell me about your deepest longings. What do you want? Who are you in the deep places? And all of a sudden, places here begin to expand a sense of the presence of God that is not stuck in the rational categories that the mind allows. That's our defense mechanism. That's how we've defined ourselves. And a lot of learning how to tell your own story breaks that down. And it's just like, even in relationships, the issue of trust is going to be there, especially if trust has been broken. And so it's like, okay, don't be so concerned about some kind of intellectual verification of the existence of God. Look at the depth of your own humanity and let that speak to you about things that are true and right and beautiful. Because the deepest longings of your heart are about authenticity, about being a truth teller, about goodness, kindness. It's not retribution and punitive justice that have caused the world to become better. It's love and goodness and kindness. So I did an interview. Actually, I don't know if you've seen it. There was a Dutch television show called Where is God?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With the fighter?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, that was the first time I think I saw you, yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. So in this show, for those who don't know, they contacted 25 celebrities in the Netherlands. Yeah. And they said, one, are you in search of God? In search of God, right? What do you think about God? And we are trying to set up a reality TV show about this subject. Are you interested? And 23 out of 25 said yes. Oh. I'm interested in this. I am in search of God, but I don't know where I'm at in that journey, right? And then they would match them with someone, and they wouldn't tell the celebrity who, right? They would just fly them somewhere in the world, and the celebrity would spend a day with someone. Yeah. And the folks behind it were Jesus followers, that were being funded by the state. Mm-hmm. And it was a beautiful thing. So the gentleman that I got matched to, he had read The Shack and had mentioned it in the interview process, that he had loved it, but he was still in search of God. So he's a big guy. So he ends up in Portland, Oregon, and we get to spend a whole day together. Yeah. So in the morning we go kayaking, and I flip my boat in the water. It makes for good TV, I guess. But I didn't try to do that. And we spent the whole day together. And at the end of the day, we had a fire lit by a river
Yeah.
out in Estacada, Oregon. And he says, he talks about the day and how much the day has meant to him. And he said, I still don't know if I believe in God.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I asked him the same question, right? So what do you believe in? And again, he said, I believe in the love I have for my children. And I said, so you believe in this love? And it's other-centered, self-giving love. He said, yeah, I believe in that. I said, then pray to love,
Yeah.
because this is a love that you actually already believe.
Yeah.
So start from that. And a lot of people who think that they don't believe in God are trying to come up with an intellectual decision about an intellectual, rational conception, rather than beginning from the beautiful things that are in their lives as the presence of something that is bigger than themselves, So start from where you are. Don't start from where somebody else is, or some kind of intellectual jump and leap. This is a God who is in you, who will reveal the very character of love and goodness and kindness from the inside out, and it will match. There's no timetable for this kind of a journey, and the kindness of God is that there is no timetable for this. But from where I sit, I don't believe that anybody is powerful enough to make God leave. We can definitely push down and repress the presence, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But it takes a while for the mind to catch up.
Yeah.
It's like C.S. Lewis said when he read George MacDonald. He said when he read the fantasy book Phantastes, he said his imagination was baptized that day, and it took him 18 years for the rest of him to catch up. But he never wrote another thing that George MacDonald was not in. And I think that's what it's like for a lot of us. This is about the slow integration. And it makes sense that if we're broken from our head to our heart to begin with, our ability to trust a God who is good all the time is going to involve the integration of our own souls, right? Because this is not a mind-only relationship, right? So that involves the journey inward to help deal with the things that are broken in your own soul.
Yeah.
And then as that begins to happen, as the integration of your heart and your mind, as your soul becomes whole and more healed, your sense of capacity about the character and nature of a God who is present becomes far more accessible. So the resistance is not just in the mind, it's also in the brokenness of the heart.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
A lot.
Good. Good.
Maybe a little bit cheap, but like, what do you want to say to the guys who are struggling with in the head?
Be kind to yourself. That's what I'd say. Grant to yourself the grace that you would give anyone else that you love.
Can you say it again?
I would say to those who are struggling with belief was to grant to yourself the grace that you would extend to anyone else. We are so much kinder to others because our love for them is so much cleaner. And I'm saying, don't be so hard on yourself. Give yourself space in this journey. There is no fear in love. So relax. There is a kindness to this journey. And part of that is to allow yourself to love yourself in the midst of the journey. It's about, where am I today? Am I okay today? Yeah. It's not about perfectionist thinking. It's about giving yourself some space to breathe and then to move. See, I trust the deepest longings in you, even when you don't. Right? I do. And I trust the kindness of a God. And it's kindness that leads us to transformation. It's not punishment or fear. And part of that is when I love my own children, I'm not placing some perfectionist sense of performance and time constraints on their journey. Right? It's about knowing them. And this is the same, I think, with God in your life. So, you know, as best you're able, give yourself grace that you would to anyone else you love. You're welcome.